Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to your Fast Track to 7. My name is Ashlyn Hill.
And I'm Alex Larson.
International breaking news overnight: Israel carrying out a military strike against Iran.
The move is in response to Iran's attack last weekend and took place on the birthday of Iran's supreme leader. Bree Jackson is in Washington with the latest.
New video showing the airstrikes that Israel carried out.
Israeli forces striking back against Iran's attack that saw more than 300 drones and missiles launched at Israel.
Unfortunately, in the Middle East, an eye for an eye and the retaliatory sort of mindset is very strong.
Israel's military action comes despite President Biden's calls for restraint. Israeli officials notified the U.S. that a response was coming and American troops were not involved.
What we can say with assurance is that the United States itself did not participate in that kind of military activity.
The impact of Israel's strike is still being assessed. Members of the intelligence community say the reaction moving forward will depend on the extent of the damage.
I do not believe at this point that Iran wants a major war, because it will lose that, and it will lose it in a big way. But at the same time, the Iranian leadership also has to face its domestic political pressure, and it can't be seen as just laying down to Israel's offensive capabilities.
I think we have to assume that that's it from Israel for the time being, and perhaps they're just trying to see whether or not Iran is going to respond.
Heightened tensions in the Middle East further raising concerns that the conflict could spread. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The Biden administration announcing new sanctions targeting Iran's missile and drone program after its attack on Israel last weekend. And locally, controversy at the Human Rights Commission meeting in Fargo yesterday.
The commission's resolution about the Israel-Hamas war was rejected by Mayor Tim Mahoney. It's back to the drawing board there. Also concern over the Fargo Police Department being accused of racial profiling.
That's because two black men filing separate complaints about being wrongfully arrested in January. It's a story we first told you about last week. The commission says they want to work with the department on the issue.
We're looking to just collaborate with Police Advisory and Oversight Board, Commissioner Strand, Dr. Hogan, those individuals to really find out what that data is and make that impact.
We've got this full story on your VNL News app. Recently filed court documents are shedding some light on what we may be able to expect to see at the federal sexual assault trial for a former West Fargo Elementary School principal.
Witnesses expected to testify against David George, among them a 10-year-old boy who George is accused of, taking to South Dakota where that boy was assaulted. And then a woman who's in her 30s now who says George molested her when she was 8 years old. He was a preteen at the time himself. Federal charges were filed against George back in March.
He was a longtime school administrator, resigning from his job as principal at Independence Elementary the day he was arrested. And the former music teacher and choir director at Fertile Beltrami Public Schools has been sentenced for sex charges involving a minor. Richard Traum reportedly admitted to sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl last July and then offering to pay for the Plan B pill.
He himself took a plea deal, dropping one of his criminal sexual conduct charges. Traum was sentenced yesterday to 30 days in the Todd County Jail. He'll also be placed on supervised probation for 15 years, and he will undergo what's known as sex offender treatment. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension asking for your help in finding this wanted fugitive.
His name's William Amick. He's charged with 13 felony counts related to child sexual abuse material. These incidents involve victims between the ages of newborn and 7 years old. Amick, whose picture is up on your screen, is described as a white man, about 6'3", 123 pounds.
Investigators say he often uses a false female identity online, though. We have more information about this case on our VNL News app, including how you at home can submit an anonymous tip. The West Fargo Police Department launching their new app called Tip 411, so people at home can submit anonymous tips there and get information from the police department.
Passing along information to police officers will create an anonymous two-way conversation. The app developer says it will also improve the public's access to police alerts and information related to crime and safety. Tip 411 is available in all app stores. We also have a link on our website.
If you don't have a smartphone, you can use any cell phone to text the word WFPD and your message to the number 847-411.
Leaders in Boston are urging you to check on how you have your household items plugged in. State officials say the improper use of a holiday light cord is likely what caused a house fire in Boston back on April 5th.
The police chief there says holiday light cords should only be used to plug in holiday lights. He's urging people to never use extension cords in combination with power strips either.
We have a major traffic impact alert for drivers in North Fargo today. Starting at 9 this morning, 45th Street North is going to close between 19th and 32nd Avenues North. Vehicles will be detoured to I-29 through 19th Avenue North and Cass County Road 20.
The closure is for the full reconstruction of 45th Street North into an urban concrete roadway. It is expected to remain closed until this fall. And a traffic alert for drivers in South Fargo today.
Starting today, the lanes of 32nd Avenue South is going to be reduced to one lane between 25th Street and 23rd Street. Crews are going to be replacing a concrete panel in the roadway.
That lane closure expected to be in place for up to 5 days. And it's not over yet. If you are driving west of Fargo, you may run into some road work on I-94. That began yesterday. The left passing lane is closed both east and westbound for about a mile for work related to the FM diversion project.
Then on Monday, the right driving lanes of both directions are going to be closed in that same location. That's going to be in effect until the bypass lanes are complete sometime in June. Speeds are going to be reduced in the project area for the safety of construction crews. Turning our attention to the weather now, we had a few flakes flying a little bit ago, but with more on if that's here to stick around through the weekend, let's send things over to meteorologist Lisa Green. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Speaking of sticking, we've had some accumulation. That snow is sticking to the ground in some spots overnight last night and into this morning. Some of us are waking up to that fresh coating of snow. This is a DOT view, the latest from Minnesota side of the Red River, Minnesota Highway 71 here. This is near Lake Itasca. You see that fresh snow on the road, the tire tracks of folks who have already driven through that. And this might be something that you encounter this morning. Even if the snow is stopped, it might be a little bit slick on the roads, maybe on your decks and on your porches as well, in those areas where we've been cold enough for that accumulation. And in Fargo-Moorhead, we've seen a little bit of those flakes. Those continue to make their way through this morning. We'll zoom in on our radar here. Areas where we're seeing snow, more focused in Minnesota at this point, but you can still see some light flakes in the FM Metro, back up into Norman County, back into Monoman County, a couple of other spots near Red Lake Falls. And this is, again, something that will be hanging around through the day. The other issue is the wind. You see the flags moving on our Skycam at Grand Forks, home of economy there. And that's an area where winds have been gusting into the 30s at times, a current speed of 18 at the airport. Fargo, Devil's Lake, both reporting some light snow right now. And we could be seeing some gusts into the 30s this morning and especially into the afternoon. So that would blow around any snow that is falling. You can see there are some places getting some breaks in the clouds, especially in the south. Fergus Falls reporting some sunshine. But out at the bus stop, it's going to feel a little more like winter this morning. We're talking temperatures in the sub-freezing range to start. Wind chills are as low as the single digits in some areas in the Devil's Lake Basin. A lot of us feel like we're in the teens. So a morning to wear that warmer coat this morning, and even into the afternoon, we don't warm up much. We'll see temperatures in the 30s in most areas to some low 40s in Fargo. But just in time for the weekend, we're improving conditions here. That snow will be a possibility even into tonight. But by Saturday morning, we're seeing that sunshine return, and it sticks around for the weekend. Next week, more 60s on the way.
Yeah, very much looking forward to this warm up. Just got to make it through our Friday.
Exactly. You know, it's just going to be a little bit snowy, a little bit of a return to winter for now. And springtime will be back.
We'll hop right back to it.
That's right.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, Monday's Earth Day, and to celebrate, the Red River Market is partnering with MSUM Sustainable Student Association for Fresh Finds and Campus Vibes.
We are checking in live this morning with the Valley Today's Tatum Miller, who is on MSUM's campus learning all the ins and outs. Good morning, Tatum.
Good morning, guys. And Lisa is absolutely right. It feels pretty freezing out here, but we're live on MSUM's campus. I'm here with Frederick Robin with Studio FSR. So what is Studio FSR and how'd you get started?
Yeah, Studio FSR actually is kind of my initials, Frederick Stephen Robin, and we started in 2016. I was living in Detroit Lakes at the time, and we were trying to find a soap that was beautiful, that worked well, that was natural, that worked for our really dry skin. Our whole family has really dry skin, and we couldn't find one that checked all those boxes, so we ended up making our own. And when I say we, I mean me and my mother. She's a retired dentist, and we kind of started this together as a family project, and it's expanded since then into perfumes and candles and lotions and everything with scent.
I love that. Such a great story. So what kind of products are we looking at in front of us right now?
Absolutely. So these are our newest candle collections. So we have the everyday candles here in the frosted glass, and then we have something I'm very excited about. It's these composed candles. So what these are, I'm a composer and a perfumer as well, so I write music, and I thought it would be cool to have a multi-sensory experience. And so what these candles have is there's an NFC microchip embedded inside it, and so when you put your phone near it, there'll be a notification that says, do you want to play this specific song that I've written for this specific candle? So you can kind of set the mood for an evening, and each of the 4 candles has their own scent and song.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I've never seen anything like it. I know we have one of your soaps over here, and this is more of a sustainable market. So tell me a little bit about your packaging.
Absolutely. So this is our new hand and body lotion. It's made completely in-house. All of the scent is made by me, and the packaging, it's interesting. It's a bioplastic, so it's made from wheatgrass, which is a byproduct of wheat production. So that we're moving towards a no plastic company completely.
That is incredible, right in time for Earth Day. And if we can't find you at the markets, where else can we find you?
At the other markets. We're at Red River Market virtually every weekend, downtown Fargo. We're at all the festivals and fairs throughout the Midwest and virtually anywhere.
All right, well, thank you so much, Frederick. I'm going to start smelling all of these candles, and when I check back in, we'll talk with one more vendor. I'm Tatum Miller for Valley News Live. Back to you at the studio.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds like some wonderful products there. Thank you for that sneak peek this morning, Tatum.
Yeah, that was very fun. Well, to see the full list of vendors, you can check out this story on valleynewslive.com or, of course, the free VNL News app. Well, in recent years, virtually every major automobile manufacturer has announced plans to transition to electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles.
Now, FM area MetroCog says they're working to make sure that the community is EV ready. Their big plan, they say, includes identifying current and potential barriers and coming up with strategies and community support for electric vehicles.
That includes providing framework for cities to address infrastructure and service needs like zoning, parking, permitting, and funding. And if you'd like to give your input, you can take the EV Readiness Survey.
It's open until May 1st. We have a link to this story on our VNL News app. Significant work happening on the west side of West Acres Mall as crews there work to transform the old Herbergers into Von Maur.
That new store is going to cover around 90,000 square feet in the mall. The store is known for high-end fashion brands of women's, men's, children's clothing, as well as shoes, accessories, beauty products, and of course home goods. The store is expected to open about a year from now. That's spring 2025.
Well, music lovers, this is the day Swifties have been waiting for, including myself. Taylor Swift's 11th album, The Tortured Poets Department, is now available for streaming and purchase, and it contains collaborations with Post Malone and Florence and the Machine.
A special video release is also expected this evening. Swift surprise announced the album during the Grammy Awards show back in February.
And then at 2 a.m. this morning, it was a surprise announcement that it's a double album.
What?
So I know what I'm dedicating my entire weekend to coming up. Really, it's true. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start. In the meantime, though, have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Have a great weekend.
See ya.